And welcome, everybody, to Geeking Poetic Podcast channel. I'm your host, Larry Roberts. My Padawan learner over here to my right is none other than...
Megan Guess.
And what are we here to talk about?
Ahsoka. It's finally here.
Finally, we are so excited. We've been waiting for this for so long. I know there's people talking about being burned out on Star Wars and anything Star Wars. I'm not burned out on it. Not when it's something really good, which...
Not when it's Season 5 Rebels.
Yes, exactly, because that's essentially what this is. This is Season 5 Rebels, but we'll get into that in a minute. Yes, this is the Geeking Poetic Podcast channel. We talk about all things geeky. We highly encourage, if you like what you are listening to or watching or however you are taking in our stuff here, we encourage you to not only like and share, but please subscribe to us. It really means a lot.
Means the world.
Yeah, just hit that subscribe button there, and that's the best way to know when we will have the other episodes coming out, because we are going to cover all of the, I don't know if there's going to be more seasons. Season 1, we'll call it for right now, of Star Wars Ahsoka.
Yes, everyone.
But before we get into a quick recap, we promised ourselves we're not going to go through like a super detailed recap. You've all watched the episode, or you wouldn't be listening to us talk about it, I'm sure, unless you've watched the episode.
Or you're going to watch it, so
spoilers. Yeah. Just in case. If you want to watch it first, then press pause.
Come back.
Exactly, because we are going to talk about spoilers here. But we should talk about one of the main complaints we've seen already about this show, just since the first 2 episodes came out, is people saying that, oh man, this relies too heavily on having watched Rebels. Well,
duh.
Yeah.
They told us months ago this is Rebels 5. I mean,
yeah. They may be calling this Star Wars Ahsoka, but this is essentially Season 5 of Rebels. And we're excited about it because we're big fans of Rebels. We loved that show.
I did.
Yeah. And so this has been really, really exciting. The only thing I can say, we're not going to recap it. There's far, far too much to get into when it comes to the show Rebels to explain it to you here. My only suggestions are, at the very least, if you are going to watch the show at all, you could probably get away with, I suggest watching the whole thing, but if you have to, if you're pressed for time, watch at least seasons 3 and 4. You should be able to pretty much get up to speed with what the show's about.
How it ended and who the people are.
Right.
Exactly.
And all the important stuff. Yeah, exactly. And if you're not going to do that, then my suggestion is go on YouTube and check out like a really cool like recap explanation video. I'll make a suggestion. We're not being paid. We're not affiliated with them, but the channel Screen Crush has a really, really good, detailed but easy to absorb recap of Star Wars Rebels that is called Ahsoka and Star Wars Rebels Recap. Everything you need to know before Ahsoka. Honestly, if you watch that, I think it's only like a half an hour long. If you watch that, that will get you up to speed with everything you need to know before you watch Ahsoka. And
Perfect.
with that, Meg, should we get into it?
Yes.
All right.
Do it.
So
let's talk Ahsoka. Yeah,
let's talk Ahsoka. I'm going to give as brief as possible, a brief summarization of what we saw in episodes 1 and 2. So in episode 1, titled Master and Apprentice, we see 2 dark characters who are appearing to be Jedis, but are not. I'm going to refer to, I don't know what they are. They're mercenaries. I'm going to call them non-Jedis, by the name of Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati. They arrive on a New Republic cruiser and begin slaughtering the whole crew on the cruiser in order to rescue a prisoner from the ship. This prisoner is none other than Lady Morgan Elsbeth. Now, we saw Lady Morgan Elsbeth for the first time in the
Mandalorian season 2?
Season 2, yes, exactly. I had to think about that for a second because we've had 3 of them. Yeah, around the middle of season 2 of Mandalorian, we saw her face off against Ahsoka Tano. And
excellent scene.
It was a great one of the best episodes of the Mandalorian period, if you ask my opinion. And she's played by Diana Lee Inosanto, who, we'll talk about her more later. But in any case, she ends up getting captured by Ahsoka in that episode, and we find out that Ahsoka is searching for information about the location of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, the last time we saw Thrawn was at the end of season 4 of Rebels. It was the end, basically, of that show when Thrawn was facing off against young Jedi Ezra Bridger, and they ended up disappearing into regions unknown in some other part of space outside the galaxy. We don't know where they are, but we come to find out that Ahsoka wants to not only find Thrawn because there's rumblings going on that there are
coming back. Dark seeds in place.
Right. Dark forces are at play trying to bring him back to make him sort of like the new dark
Vader
leader. Yeah, exactly. New emperor type character. But also she wants to find Ezra. If there, there's a chance that if you find
one, you find the other because they both disappeared together.
Exactly. Ahsoka has managed to obtain information of where to find a star map that is located in an old ancient temple that should lead to the location of Thrawn and presumably Bridger as well. At this point, we also get to meet her droid companion, one of my favorite characters, Hu Yang, who is voiced by David Tennant.
Otherwise, Doctor Who himself.
Exactly. Dr. Hu Yang. You see what they did there? And I can't get over the fact that it's every time he talks, I'm like, it's the doctor.
I can't hear it.
You don't hear the doctor?
No, they computerized them so much. I mean, sometimes I hear it, but other times I don't. It doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah, they did a good job with it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's the doctor. I'm sorry. I'm sure David Tennant gets annoyed with this, but no matter what he does, it's like, that's the doctor. That's my doctor.
He will always be the doctor.
He will always be the doctor. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Hu Yang used to train young Padawans in lightsaber building and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's pretty cool having that character back. Ahsoka goes and regroups with the fleet and speaks with Hera Syndulla, who is also played by another favorite of mine, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who any of you Scott Pilgrim fans will remember that she was Ramona Flowers. Anyway, she's great in it, but again, we'll get to that later. We learn that she cannot open the map without a certain key. Hera and Ahsoka do not have any idea of how to get the key, but they both agree that the one person that can probably decipher it and figure out the key for this star map would be none other than returning Rebels favorite,
Sabine Wren.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Big ass.
Yeah. And we learn that Wren is still as feisty and rebellious and doesn't take orders well as ever.
Worse.
Yeah, she might even be worse now. Yeah, it's true. And she's still very upset over Ezra's disappearance. She even spends time looking at old hologram messages that Ezra had left for her and stuff. We also learn at one point between the end of Rebels Season 4 and now, Sabine became a Padawan learner underneath Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is awesome, except apparently we don't know the whole story yet, but things
It was awesome until it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't work out. So there's a lot of tension between these estranged characters. Wren ends up agreeing to help Ahsoka decipher the star map because she really wants to find Ezra. But when Ahsoka tells her, don't go running off with the map because it's dangerous, blah, 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 of course.
She runs off with the map.
She runs off with the map. Yeah, she doesn't listen.
Oh, she did an Ezra moment.
Yeah.
Oh, Ezra.
Yeah, they really are. Even though they're not actually related, they really are like siblings. They are kind of cut from the same cloth, aren't they?
Seriously.
The good news is that after working on it all night and so on, she does figure out the way to open the star map and find the location that they need to find Ezra. However, the problem is, at that exact moment, conveniently, some mercenary droids, they attack her and ambush her and get the star map from her. And lastly, the apprentice non-Jedi, Shin, ends up driving a lightsaber right through Sabine's side. I know.
And twins. I was like, no.
I know. And I really thought they were going to do that. I thought they were going to, because Disney has done things like that lately. They did, spoilers, I'm not trying to spoil too much, but they did things like that with certain important characters in the recent Marvel Secret Invasion, where right off the bat, they killed off a long-term character. And you're like, dude, really?
Yeah, don't bring her back just to kill her.
So that's where they basically wrap up episode 1.
Not cool.
No, it wasn't cool, but
thankfully we got episode 2 right away.
yeah, I'm glad they did that too.
Seriously.
That we didn't have to wait a whole week just
I would
to
have wrote it off.
episode.
Like, forget it. I'm not going back.
Right. So in episode 2, which is entitled Toil and Trouble, we see that Sabine Wren has not perished. She's alive. She's badly wounded. But apparently in the years since, the Phantom Menace, they've figured out how
It's
to...
not instantly fatal.
Right, exactly. It's like, where was this medicine back when they stabbed Qui-Gon Jinn in the same way, He took a lightsaber through his midsection.
Or Han Solo later. Later.
That is later. Well,
I guess he fell off the
I was going to
side,
say,
too.
yeah, he was kind of left to die. Yeah, at least Ahsoka was right there when Sabine got...
I guess so. And you
got
need
stabbed.
immediate attention fast.
It could be. Yeah. Maybe it was a lucky shot, none of the really bad organs were...
It's not Star Trek where you can instantly heal it,
Right. Who knows anymore? But anyway, she's recovering from her lightsaber wound, and she kind of regrettably tells Ahsoka that they got away with the star map and they ruined all of her recording equipment, so she doesn't have any record of...
That's why you're not supposed to take it off the ship.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Ahsoka's none too pleased and is like, well, this figures, that she would
is about right.
Yeah, exactly. However, through Sabine's ability to sort of trace back where these mercenary droids came from, they come to find out that their origin is from the planet of Carillion, which is a planet that's supposed to be currently under New Republic order and everything and rule. However, it used to previously have a bunch of Imperial...
Yeah, Morgan Elsbeth had
Right.
something there.
Yeah, Morgan Elsbeth had her own factories that were based on this planet. And they said, okay, that's a little bit too coincidental to...
Yes, smells hinky.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about this.
As such, Ahsoka and Hera leave Sabine to heal, and they end up going to the Carillion Shipyards to find out what's going on. And right away, they figure out that things are squirrely. They come to find out that there's a bunch of... not only like a bunch of gear and equipment that's still like Imperial stuff, but they find out that a bunch of the old Imperial workers are still there. But they don't care about the Empire.
They just get their paycheck. They don't care.
They just want a paycheck, and right away, yeah, they see through that, and they're like, yeah, that seems like bullshit to me. What really tips them off is suddenly they see that there's a giant hyperdrive that is being constructed and getting ready to be shipped off, and Hera's like, hey, I'm the general of the fleet.
I'm not building anything that big. What is that for?
Right, exactly. She's like, that's
I'm calling you bullshit.
Very suspicious. And getting tipped off by a protocol droid, which was really funny, actually. That just
That's about right.
spilled the beans.
I love droids. They're the best.
Yeah, the droids are great. Yeah, not good liars. And getting tipped off that like, oh yeah, there's all this stuff going on, and we do have mercenary droids walking around here and everything. Well, at that point, all of a sudden, they come to find out that no, there's a bunch of people there that are Empire loyalists and everything, and they get attacked, and a big battle ensues, and Ahsoka ends up having to fight this other, this third non-Jedi assassin guy, while meanwhile Hera and your favorite character
Chopper's back.
Chopper.
He's here. Oh God, I love this little dude.
Yeah, they take off after the engine, the hyperdrive engine, with no luck in bringing that back or getting it down and everything because they're being fired upon. But Chopper ends up attaching a tracking device to it before they go into hyperdrive.
Yes.
So now they'll at least know where the hell they're going, and they can try it because they know it's going to Morgan Elsbeth, and now they've got a means of figuring out where Morgan Elsbeth is going to be. After some soul searching on both people's parts, Sabine does a little hair chop, puts on her old...
Wish my hair, if I did it like this and
just chopped
it. Like, look that cool?
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
I think I'm going to try it.
No, it doesn't.
You guys think I should try it?
No.
I should try it on him?
No, definitely not on me because it doesn't work that way. I guarantee you.
I don't know. I think we need to try it.
Hey, you really want to try it? You be my guest. It's your head. But in any case, so after some soul searching, Ahsoka and Sabine decide to work together again as master and apprentice and Padawan, which is pretty cool.
Yes, that was nice.
Cool to see her put on her old Rebels Mandalorian armor that she painted.
Wearing in the first place, she went and got stabbed. Just saying.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that was on her mind as well. But meanwhile, while that's going on, Morgan Elsbeth is contacted by those mercenary non-Jedis that they've obtained the hyperdrive and they're going to finish building her ship, the Eye of Sion, and they're going to set out soon to find Admiral Thrawn. And Elsbeth, we come to find out, is keeping this skull around this non-Jedi guy, or he is a Jedi. It's all very...
We'll too soon to know.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. But keeping him around because he is able to use the Force to kind of foresee the future and foresee what Ahsoka Tano is up to. You know, he's connected to her through the Force, so he's able to sort of keep tabs. Although he's playing it pretty close to the vest with what he's telling Elsbeth, which is interesting.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Maybe we'll get to it in a minute.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all yeah, exactly. So let's get into what we're going to do. Each episode of this is we're going to discuss the highlights and the lowlights, meaning the parts that we think are really stand out, good, hopeful, awesome parts, and then some of the things that we might have a little issue with and stuff. So let's start on a positive note. Let's talk about highlights. So what's a highlight for you?
Well, let's start with the casting choices.
Okay.
So far, everybody that's been cast, I am loving in their characters.
Okay.
From Rebels and all that. It took me a minute, just like when I started Rebels and how the cartoon is and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know about this, but then I quickly dived in. By the second episode, I was like, okay, I'm buying all these people as my loved characters from Rebels.
They did a great job with casting.
Yes.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the way Winstead as Hera Syndulla. I think she's, especially by the second episode.
I'm sold.
She's really, fitting that perfectly. Sabine Wren, Natasha is doing a great job as Sabine. Like, you just look at her and you're like, oh my God, that is Sabine Wren.
Yeah.
Especially with the haircut.
Yeah. Whenever she was on that speeder bike at first, like, what? Who is this? And as soon as she took that helmet off, I was like, oh, yep, that is definitely Sabine.
Yep.
And then she got the haircut. I was like, yep, we're in.
Yeah.
This is it.
Exactly.
It's perfect. And the guy, the hologram or whatever that was showing Ezra.
Yeah, the guy.
I am loving him. When he kind of did this head rub like this, like he does in the cartoon, like, oh my God, it was perfect how he did it.
Yes. Yeah.
This guy did his homework.
He embodies it. Yeah. I'm
very excited.
Very excited about that. I mean, they even got Clancy Brown back as writer, the one good guy, leader guy that was originally part of the head of the Rebels and stuff like that. I love what they did with that, especially because we're such huge fans of Rebels. If they changed it too much, I feel like I wouldn't dig it, but like this just feels like Rebels. Like it's live action Rebels. It's like so what I always wanted, because as much as I enjoyed, I grew to enjoy the cartoon, but I was always like, yeah, if this was live action, this would be absolutely perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know how I'd feel about the live action.
Yeah, I mean...
Because I loved the cartoon so much.
Well, I grew to, and I agree with you, because they could have very easily messed this up.
Very.
And so far, knock on wood, they have not. This is all that I could have hoped for. What are some other highlights? You're getting to see Chopper, of course.
Yes,
Dave Filoni.
I'm very excited for Chopper. His whole attitude.
Yeah.
His asshole personality. I adore that little jerk.
Yeah, the whole thing with him trying to find, did you move my stuff?
He's like, no, I didn't move your stuff. Like, yes, you did.
Yeah, he is definitely the most emotive droid, and it's so funny.
Him.
Yeah, and
he's like, oh, here it is.
Yeah, I love all his little motion. Like, even though you can't understand what he's saying, you totally understand what he's saying. Yeah, exactly.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth, yeah.
She's back. She's in a bigger role. I am digging this.
Yes, I agree with you completely. She was a character that we talked about it when that episode came out, because we did season 2 of The Mandalorian episode by episode. And we really liked that character. We really liked that arc. We really saw potential for what they could do with a villain like that. And knowing now, I mean, there's so much more backstory, and I'm sure we'll get more about her, about that she's connected to this
The
like
witches and
these like outer space witches, man, which is cool. Like I dig that. I want more stuff like that. That was another thing I liked about Rebels, was that they introduced other things like that into it. It wasn't just simply Imperials and Jedis, you know? So, I mean, yeah, there is a lot to like. I think the effects look great. I think all of the settings look great.
Talking about effects, when the ship, like when Hera and Chopper were going after that hyperdrive.
Right.
Just the views of their ship and everything, and watching go move all around and flip around them. I love the way they shot that.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was so cool.
Yeah, they did a great job with it. I love the settings. I love Sabine's painting on the wall and the way they recreated that. I saw some people complaining online going, "Oh, they changed this little detail in that." It's like, "Oh my God, come on, guys. Stop." All right? If you're going to nitpick it that much.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, we're getting so much positive stuff for Rebels fans here, like the small little changes like that. Come on.
Yeah, I saw somebody complaining that when Chopper, we went over and put the tracking device, like, really? He just kind of reached out and boop. It's like, okay, it wasn't just that easy. Come on.
Yeah.
Stop.
People are gonna nitpick because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But getting to nitpicking.
Yeah, I was like, well, let's nitpick a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we have very minor
lowlights, but I think they're important to discuss nonetheless.
What you got?
Okay, well, the first 800-pound, Padawan in the room, or whatever you want to call it, I feel like the pacing is a little off, especially in the first episode.
Yes, I agree. The first episode seemed very drag on.
Well, I mean, it's like here's the thing. I'm not one of those people that feels like old movies are too slow, or I know people that sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I have a hard time watching things like A New Hope because it's so slow compared to nowadays." Like, no, I like slow. I like when there's dramatic pauses and things for effect. I like movies like The Godfather because it's kind of slow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But this was like,
it was brutal slow.
Brutal slow. It's like,
finish your sentence.
Right, exactly. Like Sabine will make a comment and say like, "Well, what should we do then?" And then there's this long pause. Nothing's going on. And then finally Ahsoka's like, "Well, what do you think we should do?" It's like, okay, come on. Like we can cut this up a little bit more. Like, we don't need it to be like, it doesn't have to be like Gilmore Girls or something where it's just like this super fast, snappy repartee all the time. But some of it, I was just like, okay, this is an hour-long episode that I'll bet you if you just trimmed it a little bit more and worked a little more on the pacing, this could have been like 10 minutes shorter. Maybe not 10 minutes, but you get my point. Yeah, right. They did get better with it with the second episode.
Very much better.
Yeah.
I did not feel that. Lag.
There were still a couple of times where I was like, oh, okay, all right, you're dragging this out a little bit.
Yeah, but not like that first episode.
So that's a minor gripe. I will revisit that gripe if it's something that continues as we watch the future episodes and everything. But I can see that being something people are going to complain about. Just knowing how people are, I think people are going to say, "Oh, this is too slow," and normally I argue it, but in this instance, there's times where I'm like, "Yeah, okay, they could stand to step it up a little bit here."
Yeah. We talked to Matt to see if he wanted to join us tonight, and he said he watched the first 10 minutes.
Right.
I was like, was that why he stopped? He didn't say. Did he? He was like, oh, "Okay, I'm bored. Let's move on to something else."
Well, and especially the problem is again, I don't know if Matt is or isn't, but if he's not versed on what's going on with Rebels, then yeah, I could see watching that first 10 minutes just being like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't know who these people are. Who the hell is Ezra Bridger? Who's Sabine Wren? Why do I care? Yeah. Why do I care about this? What even happened to him? Yeah. So
we'll have to chat more with him.
yeah, we will. You had a personal silly little gripe, kind of.
So silly, but we have this kick-ass show,
Right.
Ahsoka, with all these kick-ass women characters.
Yeah.
Right? And you know me, I'm not big on feminism and cram women power down people's throats, right? It's like I want it, but I don't want to cram down our throats constantly. But we got this kick-ass show, and I love how they're doing it because it's not like women power. It's just all these women that are just badasses.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, they're great characters.
And every one of them, especially that first episode, but even watching the second one, they were better. Again, it was better by the second episode, but they just kept crossing it's like they didn't know what to do with their arms. It's like, let's just cross them. Hera did it. Ahsoka does it a whole bunch, which maybe just be her character. I don't know.
It kind of is.
Sabine did it a ton. I was like, the only one didn't, I don't think, was Morgan.
No.
Because, she knows what to do with their arms. Like, by the second episode, they were like putting it behind their back when they talk to somebody, or something. Why can't you just leave them down?
Well,
Why do you have to cross them?
I'm sitting here with my arms crossed right now. I cross my arms all the time. But what is it that bothers you about them crossing their arms? Does it make it seem like they're...
Like they just don't know what to do with them. It's like, we got all these badass women characters. Let's just, I don't know, just cross them,
should they be like flexing? Like...
No. No, but you don't see every episode is like all the guys just like...
Yeah. Well,
it's like they just walk with... badass, they know what they're doing. It's like you know not to fuck with them.
I see. They're not carrying themselves like they're strong and confident, is what you're saying. Okay.
It's like they're hiding behind it.
I could kind of see that.
And Ahsoka's like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna kind of stand here and stare at the camera.
Yeah, they do kind of have
say anything.
They do always kind of have a tendency to just have their arms crossed in sort of this like eye-rolling, laid-back, sarcastic kind of way. Like they're sort of like, yeah.
It's like, well, that's Sabine. I don't know. It really irked me for some reason. It just rubbed me the wrong way.
I don't think I would have noticed that, but I get now that you've brought it up. Like I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like,
it's such a minor, minute thing, but I don't know why. It just bothered me.
Well, the last thing I want to bring up, and again, all of my low lights are things that aren't like huge negatives. They're just things that I'm not totally sure about yet because we've got a lot of show yet to see.
Yes.
And a lot of questions to be answered and stuff like that. And one of the things that I'm uncertain about is I don't know how I feel about Skull and Haiti, these
non-Jedis,
pseudo Jedis. We're not Jedis, but we are Jedis. But once again, we're kind of going back to the well again with the whole concept of there was this Jedi. He was at Order 60 at the temple when Order 66 happened, and he disappeared, and now he's angsty and he's like Mr. Anti-Jedi. We saw the same thing happen with the main bad guy in the Obi-Wan series, and her whole thing that she was one of the young Padawans, and then she went on to be an angsty, mad anti-Jedi. And I'm like, are we going to just do this all the time?
It's a deep well to dig from.
Well, I disagree. I see. That's why,
it shouldn't be.
Yeah, characters like Morgan Elsbeth. It's like, give us something new. She's new. She's a new kind of. She's got mystery and an intrigue to her, and she's like this badass, but like we don't know that much about her. But she's obviously got these like witchy. She's got Force-like powers, but it's a different kind of Force-like power, and she comes from a whole other thing, and it's like, that's what I want to see. Same thing with Thrawn. It's like, here we have, he is an evil bastard, but he's not just another Darth Vader. He's not just another Grand Moff Tarkin. He's not just another Emperor. He's got his own thing and his own mystique and a lot of questions about him, and that intrigues me when it comes to villains. That gets me invested. But we just keep going back to the well with like, well, this Jedi gone rogue. Oh, it's another Jedi gone rogue. Oh no, it's a Jedi. He's got Jedi powers, but he's bad. It's like, I'm like, oh, come on. And even just the way, and again, this is why I'm not going to judge it too harshly yet. Just at the end of episode 2 when Skull is kind of makes his comment about what a pity it'd be to kill Ahsoka Tano because there's so few Jedi left and everything. And it's like, oh, okay. It's interesting. So he does still have some sort of, connection there, some sort of respect, I guess you could say, some begrudging respect towards his own kind and everything. So maybe that'll get interesting.
Yeah, because he did make another comment when his Padawan asked, what are we getting out of this? Once we find Thrawn, what do we get? And he's like,
Power.
Yeah. More power than you can even fathom. I was like, so is he just like, because you mentioned Thrawn's an evil, awful person, but I've been reading the books and he's not.
Well,
it means to an end for what you're needing.
Yeah.
So is this guy a means to an end? I'm not saying it's right.
Right.
But he's got his reasons.
Yeah, I suppose.
And it makes sense to them. So I was thinking possibly that his Padawan was going to turn on him because she always looks like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, she does.
Looking at him.
Yeah, she does.
I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, there's definitely something there.
Going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not.
Either both of them or is it just her or.
Right. And that's why I'm not going to judge it too harshly yet. That's why I'm not being like, oh, they're terrible. No, I'm just saying like right now at the onset of it, I'm like, we're doing that whole rogue Jedi thing again after Order 66 and blah, blah. Everything goes back to Order 66. And I get why it does. But at the same time, I'm ready for new concepts and new things. So I will be interested to see where that goes. So that's not, again, my lowlights aren't necessarily like harsh criticisms. They're just things that I'm like, not sold on this yet. Let's see where this goes.
Right.
So in talking about where things might go, I don't know about you, but one of the things that I'm looking forward to, I'm really curious about because we didn't get to see any of it. We've just heard about it, is I'm curious to see the relationship between Ahsoka and her Padawan, Sabine. Like, I'm interested to see how that plays out because you get the impression that, Sabine is a pain in the ass and she's not a good follower or listener. But at the same time, Ahsoka historically, ever since she was a Padawan, has always been somebody that was very easily frustrated, very easily walked away from things, didn't follow through on things even when she should have. And so I'm going to be really interested to see how they're going to try and repair this relationship.
Yeah, maybe they can help each other grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't Hera said you both need the structure.
Right. And as far as like other things I'm looking forward to, I don't know about you, but I suspect you are. I'm looking forward to seeing more characters.
I was just thinking, I want to see how they're bringing Zeb into this.
Yeah.
I need Zeb.
I want Zeb, and I'm like, who else are they gonna?
I want that droid.
Yeah,
deadpan droid.
Yeah. Oh no. If we get him and we get Chopper, that's going to be
gold.
Perfect.
I love
that
those
will be
two together.
Awesome. And I mean, like, I even wonder, like, if they'll bring in an even just like small role. Like, I mean, I know some of the characters are annoying, but people like Hondo Ohnaka, that stupid smuggler guy that Ezra was buddies with and always went back to. Like, are they going to bring him in? I feel like, even though that character annoyed me at times on the show, I'm going to be excited if I see him.
See him on there?
Yeah.
What about the guy that was part of the Empire?
Oh yeah, that went to live with Zeb's race of people and stuff. Oh, that would be awesome.
Maybe him and Zeb are together.
That would be super cool. Oh man, I just got goosebumps thinking about that. Oh man,
I really hope we get a cameo.
I do hope they bring that in. I want to see, even if it's just a little bit, as long as it makes sense to the storyline. I want to see more of those characters. Fen Rao, from the other Mandalorian guys and stuff. Like, I would love to see more of that brought in. That will be awesome. So, yeah, as you can tell, we're very excited about this. Like I said, our complaints are, minimal and silly little things, little nitpicky things at best. Really looking forward to episode 3. That'll be next week. And I don't know if we're going to record it or if we're going to live stream it because
we're going to do it one or the other.
Anyway, yeah, sometimes the live streaming does not cooperate with us. But either way, we will try to get it out as soon as possible after the episode premieres on Disney+. Once again, please like, subscribe, and share especially. That more than anything, share with people. If you've got friends that you think would like to hear what we're talking about or get in on the conversation, share this with them. We need to we want to bring in as many nerds and geeks as possible to talk about this stuff with us. And don't forget to check out Facebook, where we have a group on there called the Geeking Squad group. And it's open, it's free, whatever, for anybody to join, as long as you're not a jerk, as long as you're not an Imperial sympathizer or something like that. You got to be
non-Jedi.
Yeah, not one of them weird non-Jedi mercenary guys and everything. But even if you are, we'll hear you out. But yeah, come join us in there, because we talk about all this stuff. We post news and rumors and all that kind of stuff about Star Wars and everything else we're into. And yeah, we'll be back next week. So until then, may the Force be with you. And
Godspeed.
See ya. Bye-bye.